Hi Chelsea fans, Chelsea 2, Burnley 0. This is your match review here on the channel with me, Chels Daft. A clean sheet, 3 points, Azpilicueta and Alonso score, a marked difference between the first half performance and the second half performance, which has taken us from here up to here with Mason Mount, Thiago Silva, Callum Hudson-Odoi outstanding. I'm going to get into it in detail. Let's get cracking. So into this game, the team selection had a lot of us wondering what was going on with formation, how we're going to play. Edouard Mendy remains in goal. The back three was still the same. Azpi on the right-hand side, Thiago Silva in the middle, Rudiger on the left. Marcos Alonso coming for Ben Chilwell on the left-hand side. Callum Hudson-Odoi continues as the right wing-back. More on him later. Georginio Kovacic, the midfield two, which a lot of people were frustrated about, with Timo Werner and Mason Mount playing around Tammy Abraham. And I'm just going to break this down into halves. First half, Chelsea were dominant. Created some good chances to get the ball into good areas. No end product. When there was, we had some shots outside the box from Werner. No real pace on them. Nick Pope could deal with them quite easy. But Callum Hudson-Odoi was once again the danger. Now, I just want to say this about Burnley. And I said it in my pre-match preview. Burnley are a hard-working, disciplined, well-drilled team in a 4-4-2. What they do, what their strengths are, is the fact that they all know each other. They all know each other's roles. They all know when to press together, when to move back together, and what their defence do. And this is why Chelsea were frustrated in the first half. Their four defenders, the two full-backs and the two centre-backs, without the ball, they all play narrow. Without the ball, they all drop alongside each other. They play no wider than the width of the penalty box, and they asking their two attacking wingers to come back and help. So, first half, Tammy Abraham was really frustrated to the point where he's having argy-bargy with Tarkowski and all this sort of nonsense. But what was happening in the sort of the majority of the time in the first half was our play slowed down because we had Timo Werner, Mason Mount and Tammy pushed up against their four defenders on the edge of the box. So when we had the ball in their midfield, inside their half, and we're looking for a ball up to them, it was easy to mark against. The midfielders drop in and protect the space. So if someone tries to drop into the hole, it wasn't happening. And we're then trying to play the ball wide. So Alonso was being marked by Brady, their right winger, who was coming back and helping. Dwight McNeil was up against Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now, McNeil works hard defensively, but Hudson-Odoi had the beating of him all the time. That ball was going out to the right-hand side. He was making runs to the byline, getting good crosses in, which they were dealing with and getting away. He was either just playing balls back across goals towards the edge of the box or the penalty spot they were dealing with. There was one moment where passed it back to Werner and he couldn't get his feet sorted out, unfortunately. Another one where Hudson-Odoi had come in from the right-hand side across the edge of the box onto his left foot. Shot was blocked away for a corner. And that proved to be a moment which later on in the half proved to be decisive. Him just by that one moment, by doing what he did and coming into his left foot and having a shot, led to Chelsea's goal. Chelsea were completely dominant. Burnley offered little or nothing in the first half. They had no shots on target, no attempted shots in the first half. Chelsea were pinning them back, and Chelsea were looking for out balls, but because they got their defensive set positions, it was difficult. We couldn't find balls in behind in the first half. So it was going side to side again, and we were getting frustrated on social media and in commentary. It was just going side to side, and there was a stat come up at half-time. The players with the most touches in the half so far was Thiago Silva, Tony Rudiger and Mateo Kovacic. We were working it from side to side, working it from the defensive area as well, with going from Rudiger to Silva to Azpi and up to Callum Hudson-Odoi, and he was the main threat, the real out ball for us. We couldn't get in down the left-hand side really, and it was coming back and going back across goal, and it was becoming really frustrating, and you couldn't see a way forward but for Callum Hudson-Odoi. And then Burnley made a mistake. And when Burnley make a mistake, they left their defensive four exposed and we capitalised. It started with a throw-in on our left-hand side, inside our half, halfway inside our half. And Alonso took the throw. Burnley chose their midfielders and their strikers to press and condense the space to win the ball back in our half. We played out and got to Jorginho. and he found Mason Mount with a great ball between their two players. And Mason Mount took a touch, bottom of the centre circle, and then he was away. He had acres of space to run into. As he looks up, he's got Abraham in front of him. He's got Vern on the left-hand side, Callum Hudson-Odoi on the right. By this point, Burnley's back four realise they're being exposed and they're sitting back and dropping back. Mason Mount gets towards the edge of the box and plays it out to Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now, believe me when I say this, because it happened. Cesar Azpilicueta, playing the right of the midfield of the defensive three, spots the ball to Mount, sees acres of space in front of him, and makes a 60-yard run full pelt Azpi down the right-hand side. Hudson-Odoi spots it. So when Mount plays the ball to Hudson-Odoi, he did exactly what he did earlier. He takes a touch, gets to the edge of the box and comes inside into his left foot, and the Burnley defenders expect him to shoot, and they sort of set themselves to stop his shot. Hudson-Odoi sees Azpi outside of him. Left foot, little dinked pass of his left foot into the path of Azpilicueta. And this is inside the box now, about 8-10 yards on a diagonal right-hand side. And Azpi walks onto it, side foot, top corner, poke beaten, Chelsea 1-0. And it was such a good move. And it was the first time that Burnley become exposed. They left so much space and it was all condensed over to one side of the pitch. We opened the pitch up, created a space, and we were so good. We moved the ball so fast, so quick, moved it incisively, decisively, and we got a great little move from Hudson-Odoi to Azpi, 1-0. So at half-time, you're thinking, right, we made a bit of hard work of that at times. They were doing well defensively. We got the breakthrough. What can we do second half? Thomas Tuchel reacted and he took off Tammy Abraham. As I say, it was frustrated, but more on him at the end of the video. And he brought on Christian Pulisic. So straight away, Timo was through the middle. Mount and Pulisic were off Timo. And there was a marked difference in Chelsea's approach to the second half. What we were doing is movement. The attacking three were just interplaying with each other, moving, interchanging positions. And when I say that, the difference was when we picked the ball up in the midfield or in the sort of wide right, or Azpi as the right of a defensive three, or Kovacic, someone made the run in the channel between the defender and the fullback. And it could have been Pulisic, it could have been Mount, it could have been Werner. All three were making different runs down different sides, and Burnley didn't know how to deal with it. And because we were doing that, their defence was backing off, the midfielders were going to press us, and we were creating spaces. And what happened in the first half is you had Kovacic and Jorginho next to each other for the most part. Not all the game, all the half, but next to each other. This half, one of them was playing in front of the other one. When they had possession, the other one would move in front, give them the option to pass it forward. They would then spin, play the ball wide quickly, or into someone who's dropped off the front line. We were finding space and we were moving it forward so much better than we have done in recent weeks. And if you think of the Wolves game and you think of this first half today to the second half we've just sat and watched, it was literally 10 times better. And Chelsea were a constant threat. Balls are played out to the right-hand side to Hudson-Odoi, who's still making those runs, still being an influence. Cross coming for Werner, good header, aiming towards the near post. Pope read it. Other moments we got in and they put a deflected ball away. Just Pope, literally big hand to stop the ball from going off Ben Mee. Putting it towards the edge of the box. Pulisic run onto it and then he couldn't connect with it, or they made a save. We were such a threat, and we were a threat down the left-hand side as well. Now, more changes were made. Mason Mount and Hudson-Odoi come off for Reece James and for Kai Havertz. People were saying in commentary in the game and on social media, taking our two best players off. But if you think about it, Reece James is his first chance to impress the manager and played well when he come on. He was an influence on the right-hand side. Sometimes he should have got a ball in earlier, but still a threat, still doing what was asked of him and still being someone of note for Burnley to try and deal with. Kai Havertz was decent enough in the game. He was getting himself involved, trying to find the gaps and openings, and made those runs in the channels as well, which was good to see. And we needed a second goal, and it come from Marcos Alonso, someone who's been isolated from September, but we all know why. We won't talk about that. But Marcos Alonso does what Marcos Alonso does. He scores goals, and this was unbelievable. He picks the ball up on the left-hand side, halfway inside their half, and he sort of steps forward to about 25, 30 yards out. And Burnley have all dropped off in their defensive shape. So Pulisic makes a run down the line. So Alonso flicks it out to him. So Pulisic takes the ball by the corner flag and he sort of steps in towards the edge of the box and he's got two defenders in front of him. Meanwhile, Alonso just thinks, I want to get in the box here. So he drifts inside the penalty box and he's just in front. He's probably on the edge of the 6-yard box on the left-hand side, which is a couple of yards outside the near post. Outside of it, not goal side, outside. And Pulisic sees him, flicks the ball to him, but flicks it to him chest high. It's not a good ball. But Alonso, with his ability with the ball at his feet, sort of takes the ball on his chest. Then he knees it, he brings it onto his knee and he knees the ball so it stays in the air at waist height. And he spins and his left foot volley straight into the top corner with Pope beaten. A fantastic goal from Alonso, who gives it all this, pointing to the badge in his celebration and constantly doing this, as if to say to the Chelsea fans, I am a Chelsea player and I want to stay here and I want to be part of this. What a finish. 2-0, pretty much game over. Chelsea's second half was a marked improvement on anything we've seen in the last month. And it was so good. And towards the end, frustration for Werner because we got into the left-hand side with Pulisic and Werner was saying, put me in the middle, outside of the box. And he just, now when you play that pass on the outside of your foot, you try to bend it round. Pulisic tried to do that into the path of Werner. If he did it right, Werner was in for a tap-in, but he hit it dead straight and Werner couldn't get there. It was too close to Pope. So Werner comes away from the game frustrated. And I'd say in this game today, there wasn't a bad Chelsea performance. There's, as I say, two players that are probably disappointed. Tammy, not being involved much first half and not being able to hold the ball up when we need him to. He needs to be much more physical. He needs to learn that side of the game up against two of the best centre-back partnerships in the Premier League. He needs to do more and not get as frustrated on pitch. And Timo for not getting his goal. And there was a moment, I think, in the second half where he pulled off the defender for a cross to come in, but Pulisic had made a run already in front of him and took the ball off of him. And you can see him being a little bit frustrated. But Timo Werner's goals will come if we continue playing like we have, no doubt. And if he breaks his goal-scoring duck against Tottenham on Thursday, we're going to love him forever. So he will be fine. But this performance second half was brilliant. All we wanted today was a win. We needed a win after Wolves and after our recent results to push us back up the table above Everton. I haven't even looked at the table. I haven't looked at any post-match. I'm just doing this video now. And it's a great, great improvement. And coming up to Tottenham on Thursday against Jose and the way he's going to set his team up, it is such a good performance to build on and to take into that game. So that's pretty much it from me. Instant match reaction. Chelsea 2, Burnley 0. Azpi and Alonso with the goals. Much better performance. So if you enjoy this video, do me a favour, drop a like on the video. As many of you as possible, please. Also, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. But hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss when my videos come out, which is every day. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your Sunday. See you tomorrow.